Most detective games test your powers of deduction. While that's very much the case with Detective Dotson, it also tests your ability to lob empty soda cans at pigeons while sprinting through alleyways dressed as a sadhu. So, clearly, we're working with high art. Hello Kakuchopurei, my name's Lickety and welcome to Loot or Leave It, the series where I solve the mystery of whether your next game night deserves a download or a dramatic uninstall. Today's case is a short one because it's about a short game. Detective Dotson, a charming little oddball of an indie title by Indian developer Masala Games. And before you ask, no, it's not about punching goons or doing car chases through Mumbai traffic. Instead, you're a slightly deluded Bollywood detective solving mysteries with nothing but sheer charisma, pigeon warfare, and a suspiciously large stash of sticky notes. So let's get to cracking this case. The game opens not with a car chase or a murder mystery, but with Dotson, our main character, calmly spreading his father's ashes. A moment of peace perhaps? Not quite. Because Dotson, in typical main character syndrome fashion, immediately decides to investigate his father's death like he's in the third act of a Bollywood whodunit. This man isn't brooding like Bruce Wayne. He's thrilled, wide-eyed, and grinning, as if someone just told him there's a dance number at the next crime scene. And maybe that's the point. Dotson isn't playing detective because he's broken. He's playing detective because he wants to live the fantasy. He's a Bollywood-loving, slightly delusional lad following his dad's private investigator footsteps. And frankly, he's having a great time doing it. And so are you. But this isn't a character analysis, this is a review. So, let's talk about mechanics. Detective Dotson is not your average pixel art adventure. Sure, it's side-scrolling and light on the action, but at its heart, it's one giant red thread evidence board simulator. You go around chatting up townsfolk, collecting clues, and dragging post-it notes and photos onto a pinboard like you're plotting a conspiracy against your own attention span. The first case is simple enough. Someone's painted your friend's dog pink. Not exactly Murder on the Orient Express, but it's clever in how it teaches you the game's rhythm. You talk to people, they tell you something, but before they do, they inevitably ask you for something in return. That thing is most likely in someone else's hands, who also wants something in return. Rinse and repeat. It's less Sherlock and more fetch quest simulator at this point. But unlike most games where fetch quests feel like unpaid internships, here they just kind of make sense. Everyone knows Dotson. It's a small town, so you're not a stranger. You're that guy, and people treat you accordingly. As you piece together clues, your evidence board grows. Bigger cases mean bigger, more chaotic boards, which all link up to the final mystery: who murdered Dotson's father? And in typical game logic fashion, you're also incentivized to clean up the streets by throwing trash in bins. For your trouble, coins and hints. Yes, being a good citizen gives you the ability to cheat the detective board. Throw enough litter into bins and you basically don't have to solve anything. The game solves it for you. But there's no real fun in that. Visually, Detective Dotson is a strange but charming beast. The game mashes together 2D pixel art with cheap looking 3D assets in a way that should absolutely not work. But it kind of does. It's like someone glued a low poly cartoon on top of Octopath Traveler and called it a day. And somehow that works. Mostly because the whole game has this laid-back, cheerful absurdity to it. The colour palette helps too. Everything is bright, vibrant, and distinctly Indian. Markets are cluttered, people are expressive, and even the pigeons are menacing. Yes, you can throw things at pigeons. They retaliate, it's chaos. Then there's the soundtrack. Scored by Nikhil Rao from the band Indian Ocean. And if you're unfamiliar, imagine the spirit of modern Indian fusion music personified. The music doesn't just play in the background, it grooves along with your sleuthing, giving each conversation and clue a kind of musical rhythm. It's got vibe, which is rare for a detective game. You're not cracking cold cases in the rain, you're strolling through warm, lived-in streets with a tabla beat in your head. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just a detective game, it's cultural commentary wearing a pixelated moustache. Detective Dotson is unapologetically a love letter to India. According to the developer notes, the game exists because the team at Masala Games got tired of seeing their home depicted as either ancient or impoverished in media. They wanted to represent modern India, the real India, the bustling, complicated, contradictory, beautiful India where tradition and technology crash into each other every morning before breakfast. Their words? Storefronts are filled to the brim with a dime a dozen pixelated pleasures, so why should you give ours a try? In a word, home. And to be honest, mission accomplished. Everything about Detective Dotson feels personal. You feel the affection in this small town dynamics, where everyone knows everyone and they all sort of look out for each other. provided you give them what they need. It's funny, heartwarming, and refreshingly mundane, like a playable slice of Indian life bottled into a cheeky detective parody. Now let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. The game is short. Like, wrap it up in a single sitting short. We're talking 4 to 5 hours from start to finish, depending on how easily distracted you get by pigeons and pixelated samosas. Now, as is customary in the series, I won't spoil the story, but I will say it ties itself up quite nicely. The ending doesn't feel like the writers just gave up mid-sentence. There's a clear arc, a satisfying conclusion, and a cheeky little tease of something bigger on the horizon. Yep, a brand new case is already lined up, launching this June as a free update, which is rare these days. Most devs would charge you a DLC fee just to change the colour of your socks. Personally, I'm a fan of the short runtime. Not every game needs to be a 60-hour open world existential crisis. Sometimes you just want to clock in, solve some small town chaos, and clock out, feeling like you've done something mildly heroic. And Dotson delivers exactly that. If anything, its brevity is part of the charm. It's the kind of game you finish on a lazy weekend afternoon, then immediately text your friend like, mate, you need to play this. Also, you can throw cans at birds, and then you can throw dead birds at other birds. But to answer the big question, is it worth it? Let's break it down. The game is short, no real replay value, and it costs $20, which is about 80 to 90 ringgit here in Malaysia. That's the same price as a bowling session with friends or a double feature at a cinema with popcorn. But then again, you also get access to Detective Dotson the movie, a full-on animated Bollywood-style flick with a Hindi dub by actual voice actors from Avengers Endgame, The Witcher, and Deadpool and Wolverine. And yes, don't worry, subtitles are included. So technically you're getting a game and a movie. Still, if you're the type who only counts playtime per dollar, you might feel a pinch. But if you're in it for the experience, the atmosphere, the charm, the unapologetic cultural pride, then this game might just be your thing. So, what's the verdict? Detective Dotson is a glorified fetch quest masquerading as a detective game, and yet somehow it works. It's wholesome, weird, a little bit janky, and deeply personal. You can feel the love the devs poured into it like it was mom's homemade biryani, and that love makes it hard to hate, even when the pigeons are pecking your head. So if you've got a spare afternoon and want something heartfelt, funny, and culturally rich, Detective Dotson is a loot. Just, watch out for the pigeons. And that's it for this short Loot or Leave It episode. Let me know in the comments if you'd be keen to see more Desi dev games like this one. And if you've got thoughts on Dotson's detective debut, or whether throwing pigeons should be an Olympic sport, drop them below. Thank you all ever so much for watching. My name's been Lickety from Kakuchopurei. Until next time, stay sharp, stay weird, and keep our evidence boards tidy. Ciao for now.